Our story opens with Sheriff's Deputy Rick Grimes, who, while on duty, gets caught in a violent shootout. He's shot and falls into a coma. Weeks later, he wakes up in a hospital room bandaged, alone, and confused. The power is out, the halls are eerily silent, and as Rick stumbles through the building, he realizes something horrifying: everyone is gone. Dead bodies litter the floor, and a locked cafeteria door bears the chilling warning, "Don't open." Dead inside. Rick steps into the world outside only to discover it's completely changed. He sees corpses everywhere and strange creatures, zombies wandering the streets. He returns home to find his wife Lori and young son Carl missing. As he stumbles through the streets, still disoriented, he gets knocked unconscious by a young boy named Dwayne, who mistakes him for a walker. Rick awakens tied to a bed, face to face with Dwayne and his father, Morgan Jones. They interrogate him until he explains his situation. Once Morgan realizes Rick isn't infected, he helps him recover. Morgan explains what's happened: a virus has swept the world, and the dead now walk the earth. Anyone who dies comes back, unless their brain is destroyed. Morgan's own wife has become a walker, and every night she returns to their house, peering through the windows. He can't bring himself to shoot her. Rick tells Morgan he believes his family may be alive and might have gone to Atlanta, where there are rumors of a refugee camp and CDC support. The next day, they go to the local sheriff's office. Rick gives Morgan and Dwayne weapons and a radio so they can stay in touch. He heads toward Atlanta in search of his wife and son. Meanwhile, we see that Lori and Carl are alive and part of a small group of survivors camped just outside Atlanta. With them is Rick's best friend and former partner, Shane Walsh, who has assumed leadership. Believing Rick is dead, Shane has grown close to Lori and even begun a romantic relationship with her, though Carl still misses his dad deeply. Back to Rick. On his way to Atlanta, his police car runs out of gas. He takes a horse from a nearby farm and rides into the city. But Atlanta is not the safe haven he expected. It's overrun. As he navigates the deserted streets, he's swarmed by a massive horde of walkers. His horse is killed, and Rick is forced to crawl into a military tank for safety. Just as he's about to lose hope, a voice comes through on the radio: Glenn Rhee, a young scavenger from the city, guiding Rick to safety. Following Glenn's directions, Rick escapes and joins a small group of survivors holed up in a department store. Among them are Andrea, T-Dog, Jackie, and Merle Dixon, a racist, aggressive man who causes trouble. Rick takes charge and handcuffs Merle to a pipe on the roof after he endangers the group. When walkers begin surrounding the building, Rick hatches a risky plan: cover themselves in guts and blood from a walker to mask their scent. The plan works until a sudden downpour washes away the smell, forcing a frantic escape. Rick, Glenn, and the others make it out, but in the chaos, T-Dog drops the key to Merle's handcuffs. Unable to free him, they are forced to leave him behind. The group returns to the forest camp, where Rick is shockingly reunited with Lori and Carl. It's an emotional moment for all, especially Lori, who now faces the truth that Rick is alive, after having moved on with Shane. Shane is visibly shaken but hides his jealousy. Rick thanks Shane for protecting his family, but the tension between the two begins to simmer. Soon after, the group realizes they need to tell Daryl Dixon, Merle's younger brother, what happened. Daryl is furious when he learns his brother was left behind. Despite Shane's disapproval, Rick decides to go back and rescue Merle. He, Daryl, Glenn, and T-Dog return to Atlanta, but when they get to the rooftop, Merle is gone. All that remains is a bloody hand and the empty handcuffs. Merle had cut off his own hand to escape. Meanwhile, life at the camp continues. Andrea and her younger sister Amy bond over memories of their father as they go fishing. Another survivor, Jim, begins digging graves without any explanation. When questioned, he says he had a dream about death but doesn't know who it was about. The others worry he's losing his mind. Back in Atlanta, Glenn and the others retrieve a dropped bag of guns. During the mission, Glenn is captured by another group. Rick and the others confront the group, expecting danger, but find that they're actually protecting a group of elderly people who were abandoned in a nursing home. Rick gives them half of the guns as a gesture of goodwill. Back at camp, things take a tragic turn. That night, walkers attack, killing several people. Amy is bitten and dies in her sister Andrea's arms. Ed, another survivor, is also killed. In the aftermath, Andrea refuses to let anyone touch Amy's body. When Amy reanimates as a walker, Andrea tearfully shoots her in the head. Amid the chaos, Jim reveals he was bitten. The group knows he will soon turn. Rick proposes a new plan: take the group to the CDC in Atlanta, where scientists might be working on a cure. Shane strongly opposes this, believing it's too risky and they should go to a military base instead. The two argue fiercely, and at one point, Shane even points a gun at Rick before stopping himself. Rick never notices, but Dale sees everything. Ultimately, the group decides to head for the CDC. On the way, Jim's condition worsens. He begs to be left behind, preferring to die in peace. The group honors his wishes and leaves him under a tree, where they say their goodbyes. They arrive at the CDC to find it seemingly abandoned. Suddenly, the doors open, and a lone scientist, Dr. Edwin Jenner, lets them in. Jenner explains that the CDC was working to understand the infection, but everyone else is dead. He has been continuing the research alone but with little success. He shows them a video of how the virus attacks the brain and how nothing can stop it once it begins. As the group relaxes for the first time in weeks, showering, eating, and sleeping safely, they are hit with devastating news. The CDC is about to self-destruct due to an energy failure. The lab is sealed, and they have only a few hours left. Some of the group breaks down. Jackie decides to stay behind and die peacefully. Andrea also considers staying, but Dale refuses to leave without her, ultimately convincing her to leave. Rick desperately pleads with Jenner to let them go. Jenner, who has lost all hope, finally opens the doors. The group escapes just in time as the CDC explodes behind them. As the smoke clears and the group drives away,